Good morning.
Yeah. Done.
We want to welcome you to the Drainage District Board of Directors meeting for today, June 20th, 2016. President R, Commissioner Cuella, Precinct 1, Palacios, Precinct 4, and myself, we have a quorum. Please join us in prayer.
Thank you, Judge. Let us pray. Father God, we give you thanks again for the day that you've given us today, Lord. We thank you for the many blessings that you have provided us. Thank you for the Father's Day celebrations that we had yesterday, Lord. We ask that you continue to provide wisdom, discernment, guidance to this elected board, the judge and the 4 commissioners, Lord, that lead this great county, Lord. Continue to bless them. Continue to be with them as they make these tough decisions that affect us all, Lord. Continue to guide myself, my staff, all the leaders of the county, Lord, that we may do what's best for our county. I ask this in your Son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Anyone signed up?
Yes, sir.
Yes, we do have one.
We do have one for Drainage District, Norma Aldape.
Buenos días. Solamente quería venir a darle gracias, ¿verdad?, al señor Cecín por haber estado con nosotros en una reunión para beneficio de nuestra colonia, ¿verdad?, que se va a implementar el drenaje, sí, primeramente Dios, y lo estamos esperando muy ansiosos porque es una colonia con mucha necesidad. También al comisionado Cuellar porque han estado trabajando juntos, ¿verdad? Pero en esta mañana nos juntamos la semana pasada con el señor Cecín y muchas gracias. Muchas gracias, señor Cecín, por darnos el tiempo y la comunidad se lo va a agradecer. Estamos en reunión y teniendo comunicación podemos trabajar mejor. Gracias.
Gracias. Gracias. Consent agenda, any concerns?
No concerns, no, sir.
Move for approval.
Simple.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Item 5, sir.
Discussion on Dow County Drainage District 1 Drainage Project Maintenance and Operations. Just for the board's benefit, as mentioned, we did have a meeting this past Wednesday with Lupe and Arise. We focused on a couple of developments that we're working on right now, currently in the Precinct 1 area. We also talked about the general operation of the district as far as the website that we're working with right now to update, and we're getting a little bit better at that, I believe. We're trying to upload more information for the public to be able to get online and see where the project's located, the status of the project.
Coming? I know you've been working on it.
Yeah.
Since you've been on board.
We have, sir. You know, it's been a daunting task because we had never had a website, period. So we started from scratch, and we've got probably right now that I have documented myself, we're managing over 45, close to 50 projects right now. So it's very difficult to get them all up. So we're focusing on just the 2012 bond projects right now. Aside from those, you know, we have a ton of other projects that we're working on, and I was going to brief the court briefly. Like, for example, we have our Alamo Lateral maintenance improvement project that we're doing right now, where we're widening the existing system to facilitate maintenance, but at the same time accommodate more water. You know, we have the Mercedes Lateral that we're doing as well, the same. We're working on the J08 and the J09, doing the same thing on the J08, doing the widening for maintenance operations, but also accommodating more water in our system. We have various projects. You know, we have the South Flow Water Channel that we're working with right now in the Las Milpas area that we're going to improve drainage there and partner with the irrigation district in the city to improve drainage for that whole area. Precinct 3, we have a 3-mile RDF that we're developing there on 3 Mile and Abram that we're working to develop drainage for that area. So there's a lot of projects that we're working on that I would love to cover on our website, but right now we're trying to focus on the bond projects. And eventually we're going to get to a point where I may need a full-time person just to manage it. We're not there yet, but we are working in a lot of areas beyond just rural drainage and beyond just the bond issuance, working with partnerships with irrigation districts to develop our system. And the way I see it is to take what we already have existing and make it easier for us to maintenance with our shredders, but at the same time accommodate more water. So we're trying to do dual things here. It's a maintenance project, but at the same time more capacity. So a lot of those projects we do have going on. Next board meeting, I'll have more direct answer on that question, Judge, as far as where we are on the website, how many projects we have up, and where we are on that. So We do
Okay,
have a
sir.
meeting coming up this Monday with my staff to kind of go over in detail with that information on the website, because we believe that's very important for us.
Let's move on to item 6.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Authority to advertise and approval plans, specifications developed by project engineer Jose Saldivar, PE, for Dow County Drainage District Number 1, Dow County Precinct Number 1, Mile 6 West, Mile 14 North Area Drainage Improvement Project, RFB number ACDD 116-031-07-13, including the re-advertising of projects in the event no bid responses are received and or rejected, and project is still required.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you. Item 7, requesting exception for competitive bidding requirements on Texas Local Government Code, Section 262.024A4 for professional service.
Move for approval. Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Item B, presentation of scoring grid for the purpose of ranking ACD 1 Board of Directors, the firms graded and evaluated through the district's approval pool of engineering firms for the provision of Dow County Drainage District Number 1 new administrative facility and site improvement project. Half and Associates score 94, LNG Engineering score 92, Dannenbaum Engineering score 90, and S&B Infrastructure score of 90. Will the board wish to rank them as stated?
Motion approved.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you. Requesting authority to transition to negotiate a professional agreement for engineering services with the number 1 ranked firm of Half and Associates as it relates to Dow County Drainage District Number 1 new administrative facility and site improvements project.
Motion approved.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Yes, thank you very much.
Mr. Cecile?
Yes.
If I may, could we go back to 7B on the pool, on the ranking? I know that you have a top score, you have a 1 and 2, but you do have a tie with respect to two firms. So for purposes of the ranking, we need to draw by lot.
We're not even going to get there.
No, see, Judge, but for purposes of the ranking,
All right.
for purposes of the ranking, we need to, those two firms, just do.
Oh.
This will be for number 3. Okay. Dannenbaum.
Thank you. And 4 would be S&B.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vale.
Yes, sir.
And I don't have anything else. I don't have any executive session items.
All right. Need a
Judge,
motion
Commissioners.
to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We have 6 minutes before we can start our next meeting.
Right.
He was here?
Good morning. We want to welcome you this morning to the regular meeting of the Hidalgo County Commissioners Court, which has been posted for today, June 20th, 2016. Present are Commissioner Cuellar, Precinct 1, Commissioner Cantu, Precinct 2, Palacios, Precinct 4, and myself. We have a quorum. Please join us in our Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Almighty God, we come together today for the good of the citizens of Hidalgo County. Give us your wisdom as we make decisions that will affect them today and in the years to come. Help us to work together, recognizing that each of us are here because we want what is best for Hidalgo County. We ask for your blessing and for your guidance. We also ask, dear Lord, that you bring your healing powers over all of those who are taking care of one of Hidalgo County's own, Miss Esther Cortez, who finds herself gravely ill in the hospital and has gone through quite a serious situation. We remain confident that you are going to guide her to her recovery. We ask for your blessings and your guidance. In your name we pray. Amen.
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 consent agenda. Any concerns? Is anyone here from the auditor?
Judge, we don't. There is one. Well, we do have one. Is it under consent?
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Martin. Then which item is it?
Sorry.
I think it's 12M, if I'm not mistaken.
So if we could take
M,
action
Miss Marty.
excluding 12M.
Move for approval without 12M.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
The concern on 12M is that the 1295 has not been filed. However, we have attached our notice to the vendor. As of early this morning, he's also making a correction on his 1295. So I am asking that you approve subject to that.
Move for approval.
Second.
Subject to-
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Item 5A.
Morning, Judge Commissioners. Michael Leo, County Judge's Office. 5A, approval of the 2016 Annual Inventory Control Requirement forms as required by the Texas Homeland Security State Administrative Agency. It's a form that certifies that the county has listed and tagged all required Homeland Security grant-funded assets. But we have forms from Emergency Management, Sheriff's Office, and all 4 constables. Now that we have the information, we're able to complete the required form for Judge Garcia to execute in accordance with the grant requirements. So we're asking for your approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 2 is just the authorization for County Judge to sign the form itself.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Item 6, our DA's office.
Judge, Commissioners, if I may, for the DA's office, this is on their domestic violence specialty prosecutor, the DVSP. This is Fund 1281. We're asking approval, or they're asking approval to submit the DVSP grant number 2931301, a budget adjustment to the Office of the Governor. Everything is in order.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Item 7, our Sheriff's Office.
Morning, Judge, Commissioners. Gabriel
Morning,
Castañeda
sir.
for our Sheriff Eddie Guerra. Under 7A, we have requesting approval for County Treasurer to process payment for fuel reimbursement in the amount of $42.07 to Sheriff Guerra after auditing procedures are completed by County Auditor. Sheriff Guerra paid for fuel expense with personal credit card due to U.S. Voyager card not working properly.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
7B, requesting approval for the county treasurer to process payment for fuel reimbursement in the amount of $20 to Sergeant Eduardo Rivera after auditing procedures are completed by county auditor. Sergeant Rivera paid for fuel expenses with personal credit card due to Voyager card not working properly.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Under 7C, pursuant to Hidalgo County Cellular Telephone Policy, Verizon Wireless, there's an error. It's going to be DIR TSO 3415, contract number. Presentation for consideration, acceptance, and approval of cellular phone request, form data link card request for the following. Approval of requisition 300-467 for 8 data link host access for our Star Tower modems.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Under 7D, the Local Border Sheriff's Program, 1284, approval of resolution for LBSP 17 grant to designate Judge Ramon Garcia as the grantee authorized official and to sign required documents. Grant period September 1st, 2016 through August 31st, 2017.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
7E, authorization approval for transfer of equipment vehicle purchased by Sullivan City Operation Stone Garden 14 grants to Hidalgo County Sheriff's Office Operation Stone Garden.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Number two, authorization for county judge as authorized official to sign property transfer record agreement form.
So move.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
And three, authorization for insurance of asset tag for said equipment and placement on Hidalgo County inventory list.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
7F, under Operation Stone Garden, 1284, authorization and approval to deobligate 91.53 cents of Sheriff's Office Operation Stone Garden 14 overtime fringe funds to allocate Constable Precinct 2.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, sir. Item 8, our Constable, Precinct 1.
For item 8, Judge, Commissioners, if I may, item 8A is for Constable Precinct 1. It is discussion, consideration, approval to appoint Samantha Nicole Rincones as a Reserve Deputy Constable by Constable Celestino Avila, Constable Precinct 1, in accordance with Texas Local Government Code 86.012.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Judge, Commissioners, I'm going to pass currently on item 9A until further down the agenda. I'm still waiting for Mr. Cruz to arrive, so we'll pass on 9A. 9B, I'm asking the court to approve a process of payment for the following invoice in accordance with the County Procedures Manual, which is our food policy with authority for the county treasurer to issue check after review and auditing procedures are completed by our county auditor. It is a civil service meeting that was held on May 12th, 2016 for a dollar amount of $52.50. The PO is 737097.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Item 10, or HR.
Morning, Judge, Commissioners. Office of the Legal Executive Office presenting for Human Resources. Item 10A for the HIDA Task Force, Chapter 59. Item number 1 is approval of the following personnel actions effective next full pay period. The HIDA, the DA is asking for an adjustment to a position, slot number G033, Intelligence Research Specialist, and adjustment on from the Chapter 59 funds from $1,115 to $6,665.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
And item number 2 is approval to revise the salary schedule in accordance with the action taken by the court.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Item 10B for the District Attorney's Office, for the Investigation House Bill 65 Fund. This is discussion, consideration, approval of the following personnel actions effective the next full pay period. The District Attorney is asking to create a slot to provide longevity pay for an Assistant District Attorney 4. This is an attorney that came from another county and is entitled to longevity pay, and they're asking for, this is by statute, in the amount of $1,680.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
And the District Attorney is also asking for an adjustment to slot 080007. I'm sorry, slot number 0147, Administrative Assistant 1, from $280 to, this is from Chapter 59, to $2,280.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Item 2 is approval of transfer.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
And item 3 is approval to revise the salary schedule in accordance with the action taken by the court.
Move for approval.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
10C for the Human Services Department. First, they're asking for a waiver of the budget amendment policy, personnel-related amendments.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
And we're asking for discussion, consideration, and approval of the following personnel actions effective the full pay period 7/11/2016. They're asking, the department is asking to delete 2 positions, slot 0025 and slot 0026, eligibility specialist 1, at the listed salaries, and to create slots 0036, 0037, eligibility specialist 2, at the salary that is listed, $28,940 for each.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 3 is approval of the transfer of funds.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And item 4 is approval to revise the salary schedule in accordance with the action taken by the court.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item D for Precinct 4 road maintenance. Item number 1 is discussion, consideration, approval to change one vacant clerk 4 position, slot number 0074, program 124007, from permanent regular part-time to permanent regular full-time work status with a budgeted salary of $31,252. There's no change in the dollar amounts, just to change the status from part-time to full-time.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And item 2 is approval to revise the salary schedule in accordance with the action taken by the court.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
That's all I have. Thank you, Judge, Commissioners.
Thank you, sir. Item 11, our HIDA task force.
Morning, Commissioners. Judge Rosalinda Cantu, presenting for the District Attorney's Office. Item 11A, approval of memorandum of understanding between the Hidalgo County Criminal District Attorney's HIDA Task Force and the Hidalgo County Constable Precinct 4.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Number 2, approval to revise the 2016 HIDA Justice Equitable Sharing Fund overtime schedule.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Item 12, our Health Department. All right, maybe outside.
No.
He's not there? All right. Okay, we'll come back to item 12. Item 13.
Yes. Item 13.
Community Service Agency.
Oh, yes, Judge, I was trying to get I got some clarifications. So for item 13, I am going to ask for the acceptance of the fiscal year 2015 CSBGD grant from Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs in the amount of $12,000 and authorization to designate Mr. Jaime Longoria, Executive Director, to electronically sign the appropriate documentation. The award letter is still lacking. We'll attach all appropriate documentation under this item.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
13B, I'm asking the court to accept, its discussion and possible action to accept the Texas Veterans Commission Series 16B grant in the amount of $300,000 with authorization for the county judge to sign appropriate documents.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And Judge, Commissioners, for the record, we do have the letter from the Texas Veterans Commission for the Fund Veterans Assistance on item B.
Felix, are you familiar with what the purpose of the grant is?
Yes, sir.
Would you mind explaining it to the public?
Judge, Commissioners, thank you. This is the second go-around for this application to the Texas Veterans Commission for assistance, it's monetary assistance to veterans that are in dire need financially. I understand that it can be up to $600 per veteran, and perhaps more yet, depending on the need. I know that many of you have been approached by veterans on more than one occasion that are in need, say maybe for the light bill, the gas bill, mortgage, funeral expenses for the veteran. And so this is what this grant is going to address. Of course, it goes by the poverty guidelines as well. And I will defer to Jaime Longoria for the specifics regarding this grant. But again, this is the second time that Jaime has applied for this. The first time, I'm afraid we weren't successful, but the county, Hidalgo County, was successful this time. and it's going to definitely address the needs that veterans have here in Hidalgo County.
Well, we certainly need to congratulate our Community Service Agency Director for successfully applying for this particular grant.
Yes, sir. He did an outstanding job. He's to be commended for it on behalf of the veterans community. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, item 14, Urban County. Did we act on it?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners.
Morning, sir.
Item A is requesting approval to increase the Urban County Program, Urban County Home Ownership Occupied Rehabilitation Program assistance cap from $60,000 to $70,000.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item B is requesting approval of Year 29 Urban County Program interlocal agreement with 16 participating cities and authorization for Hidalgo County Judge Ramon Garcia to sign any and all agreements.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
This item, subject to compliance with HB 1295, when and if applicable, Urban County Program on behalf of the City of Ed County is requesting authority to purchase picnic tables for Sergeant Rodriguez Park. Purchase will be made from the Payroll Group, Inc., contract number 42313, an approved vendor to Hidalgo County's membership and participation with Buy Board. The total amount of the purchase, including shipping, is $2,332, utilizing fiscal year 28 City of Edcouch Parks Recreation Facility funds.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Subject to compliance with HB 1295, when and if applicable, the Urban County Program on behalf of the City of San Juan is requesting approval of a best and final negotiated contract for professional engineering services with Pettis Consultant Engineers in the amount of $22,895, utilizing CDBG fiscal year 28 San Juan Street Improvements funds.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 1, requesting approval of an order granting an exemption from competitive bidding requirements under Texas Local Government Code, Chapter 262, Section 024A7, an item that can be obtained from only one source.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 2, approval of a sole source declaration with authority to enter into a contribution in aid of construction agreement with AEP Texas Central Company in the amount of $17,368.52 for Zone 4 and the installation of primary poles and streetlights within the city of Sullivan City.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Subject to compliance with HB 1295, when and if applicable, the Urban County Program on behalf of the City of Sullivan City is requesting approval and best and final negotiated contract for professional engineering services with SMB Infrastructure LTD in the amount. This is there's a typo here. It should be $53,568.70, Judge.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Barco.
Thank you, sir. Item 15, our elections office.
Good morning. I'm here on behalf of the elections.
Good morning.
For item 15A, it's the approval of 2016 certification of revenues by the county auditor for 2015 Chapter 19 funds.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And item 2, approval of the 2016 appropriation of funds for Chapter 19 funds in the amount of $118,752.32.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Our Head Start program, item 16.
Good morning.
Good morning.
On
Lourdes.
this particular item, we're asking that we come back to you with it. There were some changes that legal counsel made, and there was an update on insurance that was not provided.
Is that as to 16A or the entire?
That's 16A. And then we can move to 16B.
No action.
No action, Judge.
All right.
Okay, under 16B, we're requesting exemption from competitive bidding under the Texas Local Government Code, 262.024 for professional services to provide medical and dental, mental health services, and speech interpreting services.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Second part is presentation of responses received for the purpose of Commissioners Court accepting the providers as qualified in order to proceed to the next phase of the procurement process, negotiating contracts. Under medical and dental services, RFQ 2016-002-0506, we have Nuestra Clínica del Valle Incorporated for medical and dental. We have Dr. Bose, Industrial and Family Medicine, PLLC, doing business as Industrial Health Works. Under mental health, RFQ 2016-003-0506, we have Armando Gonzalez. Number 2, we have Mario Tovar. Number 3, we have Anita Sandoval. Number 4, Therapy Express Children's Rehabilitation Center, LLC. Number 5, Growing Generations Together, Incorporated, doing business as Growing Generations of South Texas. Under letter C, Speech Interpreted Services, RFQ 2016-004-0506, we have one who met the criteria. That's Amy Jane Hermanson, doing business as Sign Language Services. Administration recommends approval.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
As to 2A, B, C, 1.
Under number 3 is the approval for Head Start to negotiate contracts in a form approved by legal counsel for all professional services providers as requested to the Hidalgo County's Head Start's program RFQ for said services as detailed above, attached here too.
And before a motion is made, the motion needs to be subject to legal review.
On which one?
On number 3.
So move with that.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you. The last item that we have is approval, let's see, I'm trying to find my way here. I have the numbers don't match.
Goal sharing.
Yes, it's a discussion approval of goal sharing incentive policy. This policy is intended to help our departments work together on goals that respond to our strategic plan and respond to Head Start requirements in the process of improving the quality of services to our children. It allows us to go in there and, for example, we'll have salaries that are left over from positions that are not filled immediately, and at the end of the year we can come back and look at those goals and determine, the accomplishment of the goals. You see a draft there. It's going to be the individual departments that will come together, and everyone will have an opportunity to be able to do this. Companies throughout use this particular process. In order for us to use it, we need to have it in place before we ever attempt to use it. And you have the level 1, 2, 3, and 4, and so you determine a percentage of incentive that you would have, and then you would go at 100. 50% would be level 1, 25% would be level 2, or level 4 would be 0%. It would remain to the department's review and determination the goals that align with those expectations that we have, and at the same time bring the departments together, all levels of staff. And so we're asking for your approval. We want to experiment and work with it this year, but we have to have it under a policy for us to be able to do that. So we're asking for approval.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Item 17, our WIC program.
Let me see if I can get one.
Good morning.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. Clarissa Ramirez, Hidalgo County WIC Program Director, and I'm here to present on item 17, A1, requesting approval to submit Form A face page for the Lactation Support Center.
Move for approval.
Second.
Item
Those
17.
in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
17A2, requesting approval for county judge to sign required form.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Item 18, Precinct 3. Mr. Varela. We'll go ahead.
Eddie Olivares.
Yeah.
I see him in the audience as well.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and wait on precinct 3 to see if Mr. Varela.
Okay, Judge, Commissioners, then may I go back to, we have Dina in the audience, we do have Ariel in the audience, and we do have legal. Item 9A, the one that I asked to delay.
Okay.
So item 9A, item 9A is the OPSG fiscal year 2015. This is discussion and consideration regarding Operation Stone Garden fiscal year 2015. Judge, Commissioners, there is an award of approximately $3.3 million under this grant. Under the Operation Stone Garden. The issue at hand is the process that is now being undertaken. The $3.3 million at the end of the day, Hidalgo County will not be in control as to how the monies are dispersed, how the monies are reported on with the entities. We have been talking with legal. Legal has made various phone calls to the federal offices. The auditor's office, if I am not mistaken, has also made its phone calls either to the state or the federal offices. We, in essence, got back the same response, saying this is the process. The concern that we have, and again, this is for notification purposes to the court, the concern that we have is that Hidalgo County's name is on that contract. There is a dollar amount, and yet we will not be in control of how the monies are dispersed, how the monies are reported, or any reporting in compliance with the contract by everyone involved. The issue at the end of the day is if there, and on top of that, it's our understanding that the reporting will be done at the end as opposed to how we do it at the beginning. The issue for us is that any issues of concern or a disallowed cost.
Can I clarify?
Sure, go ahead. Clarify that, please.
Okay. Commissioners, Letter
Yes,
Fong
ma'am.
with the Auditor's Office. Normally, we get money from the federal government, and it's sort of administered by the state. It's all awarded to Hidalgo County, and then we enter into memorandums of understanding with a bunch of participating police departments.
Pick that mic up a little bit. Thank you.
Participating police departments where they get a share of the award, and they provide all documentation to us, to the county auditor's office, and we request reimbursement on their behalf. So we do make sure that there's compliance with the award requirements. When the money comes back from the state, we give it back to the participating agencies or the police departments. This year, the state decided to change the way the grant was going to be administered. So now the state will directly award the money to the police departments without going through the county. So there's no agreement between the police departments and the county to make sure that there's compliance or to review documentation. However, we are still liable for their
actions.
Yes. So whatever money is awarded by the state directly to the police departments, if there's any issues later on, the county would still be liable. This is something that we wanted to clarify with the federal government, with the state, whether since we're kind of being pushed out of the process, we're no longer going to be awarding any monies or reviewing any documentation or ensuring compliance with anything, whether we would still be responsible or liable. And they pretty much said yes.
And we're the lead applicant?
We are the lead applicant.
And as lead applicants, can't we set up an MOU and basically go back to last year's guidelines?
There's no requirement that the police departments adhere to anything because we are not going to be awarding them the monies.
Yeah, but we're not going to apply for the grant unless they sign the MOU.
I think the grant has already been applied for, and it's already been awarded to the county.
But if there's concerns, you're saying that we can almost get out of this.
I'm not sure what that process would be. I don't know.
Basically, in the past, we wouldn't disperse the funds to those agencies until we had an agreement in place. But at this point, we're not going to be in control of the funds. That's now going to be handled at the state level. So there is no requirement that that individual entity has to have an agreement in place with the county. The money's already been awarded, the $3.3 million. Now, we can try to get the individual entities to sign off on the agreement. The issue is going to be when that money's dispersed. our auditor's office would review to make sure that those agencies were in compliance before any money was reimbursed to the local entities. And at this point, the state has advised us that they're not going to be doing that until the end of the process. And at that point, we have an idea that there will be issues with disallowed costs that the county would remain on the hook for. The way that the grant is set up, the only agency that has the ability to go after and basically try to enforce is the state, not the county. The Federal Emergency Management Administration has advised us that their concern is the only agency they have a concern with is the state. That's who they contract with, not with us, even though we are the award recipient. I advised them that we had some concerns with how the Code of Federal Regulation sets up the grant requirements and whether or not the state would be in compliance with those in the way they're administering these funds. But we basically got no response from the federal agencies on that end.
What's your recommendation, Josie?
The issue is that the county remains liable for the entire $3.3 million. So if there are issues on the back end with the local agencies not complying, my concern is that we may not have enforcement ability to go after and recover that money.
See, and Judge, Commissioners, that's the issue, and that's the issue that I have at the office, is that the internal controls or checks and balances are void in this particular instance, but yet the feds are telling us that, and the state, you're still going to be liable.
But what's the solution?
We let it go, or what?
May I suggest something?
Sure.
I don't think there's any way you can enter into this contract the way it's stated. So my solution is that you need to get agreements with these different law enforcement agencies, these LEAs, and state that unless you sign the agreement, unless the auditor has the right to audit your books, then we are not going to participate in this program.
And at this point, the county has not submitted its application through e-grants to receive the funds. We've been holding off until we come up with some resolution. Either we get some idea back from the state that they'll work with us to do something of that nature, or the federal government to tell the state that they have concerns with how they're going to be administering the monies. So there is time to do that.
But why don't we, I'm sorry, if you have that leverage that you don't have to pull the money, get an MOU with everybody, get everybody on board and tell them, unless you're on board, we're not going to get this money, instead of asking the state or the federal government to do something.
The only issue with that, Commissioner, is that we will not be reviewing the applications for disbursement. They go directly to the state now. That's the way the new process is set up.
But if I can interrupt you,
sure.
I think what Commissioner is suggesting is you put yourself in the middle with an MOA, however you normally do it, and then you state in there that you have to review the stuff, the paperwork has to come through you, and you have the auditing rights to go back and audit that LEA. And that way you stick yourself in the middle, and that's the only way I can see doing it.
In other words, the state's giving you broader guidelines, have stricter guidelines.
Right.
And
at this point, the state has not given the county access to the e-grant. So as far as we know, we don't know if we're going to be able to review the submittals that the local agencies are submitting to the state.
If it's in the MOU,
right,
you would be able to.
We can try doing that. I just cannot guarantee you that that's going to be the end result and that it's going to be processed that way.
What do you want to do?
Is there any historical data, at least, going back?
That's the first thing I've done.
Yeah, but going back to the non-compliant cities that are awarded in previous grants for last year, since we're on the front end, I mean, do we have an idea of
my suggestion would be that if we do have that MOU, instead of reviewing the documentation, because we don't know that documentation that we review will ultimately be the documentation that gets submitted, is that the MOU require that they're responsible for any disallowed costs and hold the county
Absolutely.
without
Put that
any
in the
obligation.
MOU. Absolutely.
So, without our review, that MOU would require.
That didn't really help, though.
No.
Because if you have that, what's going to happen is you're going to say they're responsible, but if there are disallowed costs, then the county's going to have to go back against that LEA. What I'm saying is that if any LEA wants to participate, they have to send all paperwork through you like they did before.
Right, but the issue with the state is that the way they've set up their structure is that each LEA has their own e-grants account and for their submittal. And so we do not have authority to submit for any of the LEAs. And whatever documentation that they would give us is not, we don't know that that's what gets submitted. Like right now, we submit the documentation because it's awarded to the sheriff, and the sheriff is responsible, so we submit all.
I think that the solution is you just create an MOU with whatever guidelines that you want, and with something that you could come back on if they don't comply. Instead of the state coming after us, they go after us, but we can go after them. I think if you just put that in place, we'll be fine.
Well, Judge, Commissioner.
And unfortunately, you've tried. Everybody's tried to talk to the state and the feds. They're not responding, so we got to take it upon ourselves.
One more question. How are the other counties in the state, the larger counties, dealing with this?
They also have concerns. Deborah Fisher with the Auditor's Office had spoken with Cameron because they've submitted on behalf of like 13 agencies. We've got the most, but it hasn't been addressed for them either. So we're not the only county in the state that's dealing with this. But according to Border Patrol, we are one of the largest partners that they have on the border. So there is a concern with resolving this issue. It's just not under federal control at this point. It's the state that's imposing these requirements.
One more comment. What if you got on a conference call with Cameron County and the other larger counties that have the same problem, and you do a conference call with whatever state office is administering this, and have all the counties agree that unless this is changed, they are concerned whether they're going to proceed with this grant? Because we cannot be responsible for what these different LEAs may or may not do.
And the good thing, I'm just guessing, but most of the money, when you break down the 3.3, most of it's coming to us, McAllen, bigger cities anyway. So I don't really have a lot of concerns with them. It's when we get into the smaller cities. But at that point, maybe it's $1 million or less of the 3.3.
And even if we can maybe not have monetary concerns with the bigger entities, we, with our experience, all of the LEAs have had issues before we submit documentation. So the likelihood, at least in our experience, that there would be disallowed costs would be great, because the state does not plan to monitor upfront. That is one of the changes that they're making, that they're going to let them submit whatever needs to get submitted. At the end of the grant, they'll decide when to monitor. So by that point, the people are gone, the documentation might not be there, and so the likelihood of disallowed costs greatly increases if the monitoring is not upfront like the way we do it now.
One more idea. Would the bigger cities join with the county and agree that if there is disallowed cost, we split the disallowed cost proportionally by the amounts that the bigger cities we get to agree, and us, that percentage of each would be how much each of the bigger cities and us would have to contribute to the pool of disallowed cost?
For the smaller
No,
entities?
for the bigger cities. The bigger cities that get, like the county gets a lot of money, you've got your larger cities in the county that get a lot of money. Get them together, have them sign an interlocal if they agree to split the cost percentage-wise based upon the amount of money they get out of the total, the amount the county gets out of the total. So there is a disallowed cost.
So the disallowed cost would be per LEA. So there wouldn't need.
No, he's saying get the bigger cities to take a bigger percentage of the risk.
For example, take ABCC, which is very small, and you've had problems with them in the past. It's a disallowed cost. Have the bigger cities join with you in an interlocal. That there is a disallowed cost in city ABC, that disallowed cost is split between the county and these bigger cities in proportion to the amount of funding they get from the grant.
You could attempt to do that, but again, like Josie was explaining, they're really under no obligation to enter into.
But if they agree to it in an interlocal agreement, they are under a legal obligation.
Power of the purse.
I'll be happy to work with y'all to come up with solutions if you want to get me involved.
Because we can send them a MOU, but if they don't respond, and they're going to get the funding.
But that's why we got to do it before we have access to the money.
We're going to access the funding.
So long as we could turn away the money, then we try to get the MOU.
That's the key. And with the bigger cities, if we say no to this grant, they don't get any money. So the bigger cities are we have some leverage to get them to come to the table and split the disallowed cost with us.
Well, the leverage will be with all cities.
Well,
That-
but
I
some of the
think-
cities who get a very little amount of
Commissioner,
money,
I think
those are the ones
the
that
sheriff
have
would need to
problems.
be in agreement that's, I guess, the way it should
for sure.
proceed, and I don't believe that they are with that.
Well, I don't. Well, then we can. What do you want us to do? Table it? We have time to approve it next time.
We're not asking, nobody's, right.
Discussion.
It was just for discussion
Right,
to
it was
make
to
you
put,
aware of the new requirements that were passed down by the state and how they're planning on administering this grant this year.
Can we still reject the grant?
He can still do that, the sheriff can still do that.
That's your
That's the leverage,
leverage.
He doesn't have approval to accept it at this
No.
point.
He has not come to you for approval yet.
Well,
We're
he'll
still
know
trying
these
to resolve
concerns.
This issue, but I think the concern was.
He has the same concerns.
Right.
And the process is, the county gets awarded, and then they accept it. At this point, the county has not accepted the award.
So we have time to get an MOU in place. Good to see you, Mr. Flacio.
Probably an interlocal.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, let's go back to item number 12, our health department.
Morning, Judge, Commissioners. I apologize for being late. I was on the phone with the state on dealing some funding issues. Item 12A, sir, is requesting approval to temporarily suspend food handler certification classes effective June 20th, 2016, pending revision and update of existing program. One of the things that's important to let you know, the state changed the rules on this programming. One of the things that they're allowing now is internet classes. And we usually charge $20 for our class, and people will come in and get it. But now it's on the internet for $5. So the amount of people participating have dropped significantly. So we're looking at actually getting into the internet classes as well. So we're looking at changing those rules. So we're suspending what we're doing now because it's not cost effective, but we're looking at investing into developing a new program. So with your permission, I just want to bring that to you all so you all could know about that.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Item B, sir, this is a tremendous honor for us, but it's a quick turnaround. We've been asked to do help coordinate and facilitate a state conference involving mosquito control and Zika issues. So under B is requesting approval of the interlocal cooperation agreement between the City of McAllen and Hidalgo County in connection with holding a joint event of the State of Texas Active Response to Zika Conference for personnel who respond and provide services in case of emergencies involving potential public calamities, and further described and detailed in the ILA attached herein.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Item C is requesting approval to accept $31,500 from the State of Texas State Health Services designated for the STARS Conference, which is the Zika Conference, to be held on July 6, 2016.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Commissioners, this is huge for us here. We're looking at nearly 500 people attending this. It's going to be very quick. We're going to be the premier location in the state to bring in all the key people to help deal with this. And a lot of this effort was due to Commissioner's Court. You all's effort that you put forward, it was YouTubed out, and all the efforts that you all put forward, and the state saying we want the rest of the state to do the same thing as Hidalgo County. So I would thank you, Judge and Commissioners, for your leadership in that area. Item D is requesting approval for County Treasurer to continue payroll for employees funded by the CPS Hazards Grant past June 30th, 2016, pending FY17 contract agreement. As you know, the state of Texas has changed all contracts now for us. We're now going through Health and Human Service Commission, not through DSHS. They're in the transition. We're hoping to get the grant by the end of this month, but due to Commissioner's Court scheduling, we're bringing this forward in case that by June 30th we do not have the new contract, that we could, if you all could assist us and continue to do. We should be getting that at this month or at the beginning of next month.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Item E is requesting approval for Hidalgo County Health and Human Services Department staff and Hidalgo County Office of Emergency Management staff to host and participate in the radiological nuclear weapons of mass destruction classes from October 17th, 2016 through October 21st, 2016 at Knapp Medical Conference Center. And number 2 is approval of the letter from the Office of County Judges acknowledging Hidalgo County's participation.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
We're one of only 3 sites in Texas since this has ever been done. It's only been done in El Paso and Amarillo. It took us a year and a half to get this group down here. This Department of Defense has actually come and do this training. It's very difficult to get, and we were able to land this training this year, so we're excited about that. Item F, sir, Hidalgo County Healthcare Funding District, discussion and action. And that item F1, there is no action unless you have any questions. On item F2, discussion, consideration, approval to draw down the MCO funds. We're going to continue to put this on the agenda until we hear from the state, but they have not submitted the instructions, so we would table it or at least bring it back next court session. So that would be item 2A, B, and C, pending the state sending us instructions.
No action.
No actions. That's correct. Item 3 is discussion, consideration, and approval to draw down funds for the DY 5 Dish Rep Round 1 April reporting, DY 5 Round 1 monitoring, in the amount to be determined by Health and Human Services Commission from Local Provider Participation Fund, LPPF, with a settlement date of June 1st, 2016. Sir, I have the amounts. This is for the hospital participation fund. This is what they submit to be drawn down. We're looking at a dish rep figure of $12,870,357.65, and the monitoring fee would be $144,133.40, for a total between both of $13,014,491.05. Those instructions have been forwarded to County Auditor's Office and Treasurer's Office to follow through on the drawdowns. Again, this is no impact on county budget. This is strictly from the local preferred provider fund that is collected.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item B is approval of 2016 appropriations of funds from LPPF in the amount to be determined by HHSC, which is the figure I just gave you. All that information has been forwarded to auditors and to Treasurer's Office to be reviewed.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item G, Indigent Healthcare Program, sir. There is no items there unless there's any questions or discussion. Thank you, sir. Have a good day.
Thank you, Eddie.
No action. 18A.
We'll move on to 19A. Budget
Good morning.
Office.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners.
Morning, Dina.
Item 19A, authorization and approval to apply for the fiscal year 2016 Edward Byrne Grant with the U.S. Department of Justice.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
You want to open for the public hearing?
Right.
Need a public hearing.
Public hearing.
At this time, we're going to be convening a public hearing on the issue of FY fiscal year 2016 Edward Byrne Justice Assistance Grant Program Application Strategies and Narrative. Is there anyone here who desires to make any comment one way or the other, either in favor of or against this issue? All right. At this time, no one making any attempt to speak. We're going to go ahead and close the public hearing and move on to item number 3.
Okay. 19A3, approval of the program application for fiscal year 2016 Edward Byrne Justice Assistant Grant.
Move for approval.
19A4, authorization.
Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye, motion carries.
19A4, authorization for county judge to sign the required documents.
Move to approve.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
19B, discussion, consideration, acceptance of the Texas Division of Emergency Management sub-grant award.
Move to approve.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Item number 20, our purchasing.
Yes, Martha Salazar for the Purchasing Department under 20A1 pursuant to a directive by members of Commissioners Court on June 14th in order to have input from Flora Vasquez, Director, Employee Benefits Division. This was to include the issue of whether the RFP that'll go out for our group health insurance program would include agents or not agents. And if we included agents, it would be up to court to decide one agent or up to two, maximum of two. And I don't know, Judge, if you had any input from Ms. Vasquez?
I visited with Flora, and the way she explained it, we really have very little say-so on whether or not they're going to be agents simply because we're not paying them. That the funds to pay them come from the insurance company. And they're satisfied that they come in and do the enrolling, and that's what the big concern is, the enrolling of all the individuals that are applying to be enrolled in a particular policy. But as far as the filing of any claims, Flora says that we've been doing it and should keep on doing it, and that the insurance companies don't really delegate that authority or that work to these agents.
Judge, I will tell you one thing that at least it's come across my desk regarding the agents. And, of course, we do have the standard response we give them every time this goes through. When you have up to two agents, you then have a lot of, for want of a better word, infighting between two agents because one agency will send X number of enrollers, while maybe the second agent will not. And then you have the agents coming to the county saying they're getting a commission, yet they didn't send enrollers. And our standard answer has always been, that is something between you all because of what you said. It's the insurance company that's paying the commission. But it does create a lot of back and forth, especially with legal. We send them, well, what do we do here? And there is no control. A lot of times it's obvious that one agent will say, well, he's the bigger dog. Let him send as many as he wants to enroll. And the other agent will just sit by. And so I will tell you that it's an inconvenience, though, because it happens every time. And there's been attempts to draw us into it, by let's write letters confirming that they didn't show up in the quantities they said. And so that is one thing that I do see as problematic when you do have the agents.
Well, since they're not working for us, there's very little we can do.
Well, that's true, but I will tell you, it does create a lot of additional work for us. But in any case, which way are we then going to go?
Well, I guess we're going to be going along with the agents.
Options, okay. Now, as far as the agents have approved, they will assist with enrollment, which is something we do. As you said, Ms. Flora did explain to you, historically, that's what they do. And are we going to impose any type of request to negotiate some type of full-time or other combination of an employee in handling our claims?
Judge, if I may interrupt, based on what Ms. Salazar said, it's very true. If we go with no agents, the insurance company is still obligated to enroll our employees. And that would completely take us out of the issues we've had with respect to...
But if we go with no agent, we're still paying the same amount of money.
Right.
And Flora is now going to be, and her staff are going to be required to do the enrolling, and that's not That's not
unless you
something we want done.
unless you
agree.
put in the RFP that the insurance company is responsible for providing the enrollment services.
Right.
But that's
Good
where they
morning,
provide the
Judge,
aid.
Commissioners.
Well, but I want
The
to point out that
RFP
we're not doing it.
Right, it's up to us to include it on the RFP or leave them out. What we say is that the vendor will assign the agent as opposed to the county assigning them. If we want to leave them out, then we could possibly do that. But let me just clear something. Yes, since I've been overseeing the Benefits Division office, we have had agents that represent our TPA, our Blue Cross Blue Shield carrier, and I've never had a need to use their services. We have direct contact with our TPA, and we get info from them. We get reports from our TPA. So the need to use the agent services has never been there. Are they available? Yes. Do they offer their services? Yes. During enrollment, they will bring 1 or 2 enrollers, but really that task is left to the vendor, to the selected vendor. That vendor will decide whether the agent is going to bring in the enrollers, or they could do it themselves, because we don't require anything of the agent on the RFP. We require the vendor to provide the services, but since they have a local representative being the agent, then they send the agents to provide the services as we need them. But again, since we do have direct contact with our TPA, we've never had a need to use them. It hasn't been until this year, actually, that I've used them to help me do the trainings for the Benefit Value Advisor, which is a new feature on the plan. But in the past, we've never had to. They do provide maybe 1 or 2 enrollers, and then I don't see them throughout the year until the next enrollment.
Florida, but that would depend on the company itself.
That depends on the company.
I've seen in other schools and cities where they have a service center where employees are able to go on their Q&A and all that. So it just depends on who you're using, to be honest with you.
Well, let me tell
I've
you.
seen it in different markets, and it's completely
Yeah.
different from ours versus theirs.
Well, Commissioner, for Blue Cross Blue Shield, or actually for the medical group, there isn't a great need to
Not on
use
the
the
medical side. I'm
agent.
talking about the voluntary
Right, the
products
other
and
voluntary
some of those.
products,
Yeah.
that's a little different. But for the medical side, there hasn't been the employee may not have a need to use the agent either, because they get a direct line to Blue Cross.
Yeah.
So they are there if we need them to help us reconcile, I guess, and to help provide services. But we do perform those tasks ourselves in our office. Now, I did tell Judge that we don't pay them directly. That we don't pay the agents. We pay our TPA through administrative dues on a monthly basis, and then they pay the agents on the side. But we were hoping that if we eliminate the agent per se, we could save that money and maybe use it somewhere else.
You're talking on the medical side.
On the medical side.
When you say hoping, it's because it's not our call. It's the insurance company's.
Well, I'm not sure how this would work, but if on the RFP we leave the agents out, maybe we could.
Well, the thing is that I would believe there is a direct correlation between what the agent is given as a proposal from the insurance company, and if there's going to be an agent permitted, there has to be an embedded commission.
Right.
In the rates we're getting.
That's how we would see the savings.
That's why I think that the comment was made, could we invest that savings in assisting the benefits department with more assistance in claims processing?
What we wanted to do, and I'm not sure if they talked to you about it, but we talked about maybe having a wellness coordinator, somebody that could focus on running a wellness program for the county that would be beneficial to our employees and at the same time reduce our cost. So, I mean, that's my perception of the agents, and again,
Let me ask you a question, because on the medical plans, these companies have administrative costs embedded in their policies. If they seem deemed a local agent, then let them pay from their administrative costs, because they're charging for that service nonetheless. It's not an added cost. They're charging you for the administrative service. Let them determine. Let them pay for it.
And they do. They do.
Okay.
They do. Maybe we could have two RFPs, one with agents and one without, and see what the response is as far as the option 1 and 2, and see
You
if
would see any type of reduction?
a reduction in cost with agents or without agents.
It's a good idea.
We could have two options. The vendors can bid with agents and then have another option to bid
let's look at
without,
both
and
of
let's
them.
see if there is a reduction in
It's a
cost.
good idea. I do agree with you on the wellness deal. I mean, that's,
Yeah, I
It would
think
be, yes, a
we
good investment. So would the option be to put out an option A and an option B? With a maximum of 2 agents, as we've historically done?
Right, Delta? You agree with that?
yeah.
With a maximum of 2, correct? Okay, so the direction, if the directive
Can you
is
put that in the
both
form
options.
of a motion?
So move, as Marty said.
Yeah.
Okay.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
All right, now going on to item 2, acceptance and approval of the RFQ drafted and developed by the Honorable Hawkins and Payton from Porter Hedges. And this is for your program management services. And this was through all of the issues that were brought up at your workshop of June 13th. Now, late this morning, Michael Leo did give me a few tweaks that he would like to see in the RFQ after their review. Now, you do know that the most important component here that's still missing is your Exhibit C, which are the insurance requirements.
And because of that, shouldn't we wait, Marty, until we get this insurance consultant on board?
I would totally recommend that.
Yeah, because that's going to matter.
I think it's very, I think Mr. Hawkins, as well as Mr. Crane, and even this gentleman we spoke to, felt that it would be very unwise for us to proceed until he determines, and he has requested, if we engage him today, to review the program management duties and responsibilities to better serve you in determining those insurance requirements, as well as the building of the new courthouse as a whole. So we would take no action then on that?
Okay.
So then we will do no action on A, B, and C, because they're all 3 related. Going on to item 3, and this is the item we were talking about. We're requesting action to approve order granting exemption from competitive bidding requirements under 262-024A4, a professional service.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item B is, after a search by Mr. Crane assisted the county, as well as he and I had also spoken to other sources, we're asking that you accept the credentials of the proposed scope of services and fee schedule from Charles E. Comiskey, DBA Risk Tech Incorporated, as qualified.
Actually, Marty, that would just be accepting credentials of Risk Tech and its executive officer, Charles E. Comiskey.
Okay, as
rather
Mr.
than
Crane.
DBA.
All right. Mr. Comiskey as the executive officer of Risk Tech. To engage and approve the contract, we do have a draft that is available. It'll be subject to legal review to render services to Hidalgo County in connection with options on the insurances for the design and construction of a new courthouse project, including but not limited to, as we have put in here, deciding the different options and for coverages. 2 is the types of insurance to be used, which is standard or conventional coverage, OSIPs. 3, review the bond requirements and recommend any improvements. And 4, once decided, the drafting and development of the specs and requirements for your ultimate RFP or RFB for the purchase of selected insurance programs.
The only concern I have is the bond requirements. I don't know if he does.
If you will recall, he said he certainly is not in that business, but has seen enough things left out on bond requirements that he'd be glad to just review them in case we
may need to modify Exhibit A.
Okay. And yes, and I know there's a concern.
Yes, just that The exhibits to the agreement were not attached, including the fee schedule, so we don't know what the fee is or if the funding's in place because there's no fiscal impact on
Right.
attached.
It
So
will
there's
be,
no funding.
it'll be subject to both legal's final review and the funding. We're estimating a cost, although right now it appears about $4,000. I would say it's
A
going to be
minimum.
no more than $5,000.
A minimum of 4,000.
A minimum of $4,000. The man is very well credentialed. He was very comfortable in any of the questions we asked him. We do recommend that we proceed with B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 with any final review before it's executed by Mr. Crane, who's been involved, and the funding being in place. But we
Yeah.
haven't incurred any expenses.
And I would ask that, Marty, that if this is approved, that you send the CV and Mr. Comiskey to each of the court members.
They're attached.
Okay.
It is attached on the agenda. His CV is attached.
Motion approved.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 4, presentation of the responsible vendor submitting the lowest and best bid for the SS1, and that's Ergon Asphalt and Emulsions through project number 169.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Presentation of bids received and is detailed in the tabulation sheet contained herein for the purpose of award and responsible vendor submitting the lowest and best bid, and that's for flexible base material, crushed caliche, to Frontera Materials.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item B1, Precinct 1, approval of a claim from Republic Services for the invoice detailed herein. And that's Republic Services with the invoice ending in 1077, $6,955. PO number 738-271.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item C is Precinct 3, approve an order exempting from competitive bidding requirements 262-024A4, a professional service.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Presentation of the grid for the purposes of ranking by Commissioners Court of those 3 firms graded and evaluated. Those were ROW Surveying Services at 98, CVQ Land Surveyors at 95, and Sames Incorporated at 89. Does the court wish to rank them in the order of their scores?
What order are they? There's no number. There's
Correct, but we uploaded the grid. It's on the
okay.
It's on the agenda.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Authority for the purchasing department to commence negotiations with the number 1 firm of ROW Surveying Services, LLC.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 2 is approval of payment application 13 in the amount of $137,881.36 submitted by IOC, LLC, awarded contractor for Precinct 3's Mile 2 North Roadway project, certified for payment by the project engineer, LNG.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 4, recommendation by project engineer Lefevre Engineering and Management Consulting to award the base bid to the responsible vendor submitting the lowest and best base bid, meeting all specifications. That's G&G Contractors from Edinburgh in the total amount of $82,936.65. And that is for concrete walking trail at San Carlos CRC and Sunflower Park.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
B is pursuant to Texas Local Government Code 262-031, and in the interest of expediting a project's progress, requesting authority and approval for the precinct commissioner or designee Maria Di Lucio to execute change orders that involve an increase or decrease in cost of $50,000 or less, and in no event to exceed the change order statutory limits. And the original contract price may not be decreased by 18% or more without the consent of the contractor.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Health and Human Services, we go to acceptance and approval of the Second Amendment subject to legal counsel's review and I believe we just received that from the DA's office, to current contract for the provision of professional service in connection with Medicaid 1115 waiver Texas Health Transformation and Quality Improvement Program with Ken Nolting, DBA Nolting Consulting Services, due to the state's extension of the 1115 waiver program through 2017.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Acceptance and approval of the final negotiated contract with David M. Castro for registered pharmacist services for Hidalgo County Health and Human Services Department.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item A is acceptance and approval of the agreement and assumption agreement from University of Texas Health Science Center at San Antonio to the University of Texas Rio Grande Valley for the operation of John Austin Pena Primary Care and Substance Abuse Treatment Facility.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
B, approval of the First Amendment to the agreement between Hidalgo County University, formerly known as University of Texas Pan American, UTPA, now known as the University of Texas Rio Grande Valley, UTRGV, for the operation of the John Austin Pena Primary Care and Substance Abuse Treatment Facility.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Excuse me, Judge, he signed up to speak.
Yes.
And they've already
What item,
passed it.
what item are you?
We've already passed it. He wanted to speak and he's been standing.
Well, we're going to get back to you. We'll give you an opportunity, Frank.
Quick idea, what?
That you
I can speak afterwards.
Which item?
That's what he
Yeah, that's
said.
what-
You already went through it. He signed up.
which one is it?
It was
20
what I-
28.2 and 28.3.
Well, we'll come back to it and we'll dedicate, give them some plenty of time.
And 28.3.
Let's go ahead and finish, Marty.
Okay, we're almost there. Approval to exercise the county's option to extend the first year of the additional 2 one-year terms as stipulated in the current agreement for Hidalgo County Health and Human Services Department John Austin Pena Primary Care and Substance Abuse Treatment Facility with the University of Texas Rio Grande Valley, UTRGV.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
We're going on item F, requesting authority to purchase a 36-month fax service agreement through the purchase order with Copy Graphics through requisition 298201 and 299676 for 2 existing Canon fax machines. This is a total of $195 a year per machine with effective date of the agreement on 6/3/16 to 6/2/19 with company's acceptance of the purchase order and not an executed agreement.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Travers, what item was that?
28.2 and 28.3, Judge.
20A, number 2.
All
The
right.
RFQs for
Right.
submission of technical qualifications.
We took no action on that.
I took no action. Good, good.
Yes.
I'd very much like to say a word or two on it if I can, Judge.
Well, you so you signed up, and if nothing else, you got open forum. You have that time. So go ahead.
Okay. I'll try to make it brief. Slipped by faster than I could get up here. There's an RFQ for professional competence on 2 decisions to be made, and I got the latest copies of 2 RFQs that I could find off the internet, and I don't think these are in any shape whatsoever in terms of final form. What I wanted to submit was to be considered before we went ahead on something on this, and I'm glad you took no action. I've looked at 6 or 8 comparable presentations from various organizations on different kinds of projects, and here's one on a building that's going up in Houston. This was a request for RFQ that, by comparison, I think is much more typical of a lot that I've seen. This is for a building, also a large one. This went out on March 24th, 2016, so it is current, and I've seen a lot of others. But the similarities, they indicate the point values, the different informations to be submitted, and what point value will be given on each. Then these RFQs, ours, the way they are drafted, it's just left up to the applicants to figure out in what format they're going to present that information. I've seen a lot of examples, and this particular one has 14 pages of forms which are to be filled out, submitting the information that's asked for. And this is obviously tailored so the fact that these are going to be reviewed and the point values allocated between the applicants. These forms are set up so that the information they furnish could be looked at side by side or put up on a screen, and you could compare them and see what you're doing. Now, if we throw these RFQs out and list all the information, just a great big long list of everything is to be submitted, and let everybody make up their own format of the way they put it in, you got a jumbled pile you're going to try to work with and take a lot of time for your people to try to sort it out. So I think you need some more work on your RFQs, and they certainly shouldn't go out if the latest ones are the two that I was able to get off the internet yesterday. So if I could help, I'd be glad to turn over the information I found. Whoever's going to be working on it, I'd just like to furnish something so you can do a better job. I hope you can take it into consideration. Thank you, Judge.
Well, thank you, sir.
I'll be glad to accept his. We are always looking to improve our. I've always told my staff that purchasing is an evolving animal. It's always getting better. That's always our goal. Was there any other one, Mr. Travers? Was that the only one?
Pardon?
That was the only one?
That's the only one.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, then
I
I'm.
made sufficient comments.
Sure.
That's all I have to say.
Thank you. I have nothing.
All right, thank you, Marty.
Judge, Commissioner, with that being said, we do have two other participants under open forum. Our next participant would be Erlinda Garza. And I'll remind everyone in the audience to please respect the speaker's time. I'll go ahead and let you know when there's 1 minute left of the 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you. I just want to let you know that Catalina Rodriguez is also on there,
Yes,
and she's going to be
also Catalina Rodriguez.
and she's here with us.
Related. Okay. Go ahead.
Buenos días, señores. Mi nombre es Erlinda Garza, señora Isi Cuellar. Vengo representando la colonia de Sioux State. Soy miembro de la Lupe. Vengo acompañada de mis vecinas y estamos listas y entregamos las hojas de consentimiento a la señorita Mari Gutiérrez. La razón que necesitamos el alumbrado público es porque estamos en la oscuridad y hay mucho vandalismo y robo dentro de nuestra colonia. Necesitamos la luz para nuestros hijos que toman el autobús a oscuras todas las mañanas. Les agradecemos su atención y espero que pasen pronto por nuestra colonia cuando esté el alumbrado público. Muchas gracias.
Gracias.
You need me to translate? Yeah? Sure, okay. Well, Erlinda and her neighbors came. They actually signed all the petitions for the public light. They worked really hard on getting everybody's signature. And they're just here. They just wanted to, they came with their other neighbors that live in Sioux Estates number 2. And the reasons that they'd like the public light in their homes is because of at night there's a lot of vandalism and theft that goes on in their colonias, and also in the morning whenever they're trying to send their kids off to school, the buses are the buses have a hard time trying to see the kids. And so they're very thankful that you guys gave them the opportunity to talk today, and hopefully whenever the lights get done, maybe you guys could come by and see how it looks. Thank you.
Well, thank you, sir. All right, next presenter.
I think that they were both related.
Yes.
Yes. So we're ready to. Judge.
Nobody else?
No, sir. If I may, can we go back to Commissioner Precinct 3, item 18?
Yes, item 18A and B.
18A, there is no action to be taken today, but item 18B on behalf of the Commissioner. Judge, Commissioners, they're requesting authorization for title reports, appraisal, survey, meets and bounds, and possible right-of-way acquisition for Sunny Higgins Street. They would like action on that.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
And there is a need to go into executive session.
Pursuant to 55107.1 and 072, need a motion to
So
proceed to executive
Second.
session. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. All right, we're back in open session. Item number 24, Mr. Guerra.
For 24A, yes, Judge, open session. 24A, real estate acquisition appropriation for same, there is no action to be taken today. 24B, pending and potential litigation, there is no action to be taken. 24C, pending potential litigation related to water code, health and safety code, notice of compliance issues regarding countywide underground storage tanks. I will proceed as directed. 24D, claim of Fernando Espericueta. Judge Commissioners, I would like settlement authority to make an offer in the amount of $710.04.
Move to approve.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
24E, claim of David Escobedo. Judge Commissioners, I would like settlement authority to make an offer in the amount of $527.17.
Move to approve.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
There is no need to go back into closed or open under 2526. And so, Judge Commissioners, for the record, our next Commissioners Court session will be July 5th, 2016, 2 weeks. July
Need a
5th.
motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen.